Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Cast coaching edition. We have Marc Steinberg with us. Steinberg, that is, he's the CEO and founder at Creative Consciousness. We're going to talk about what creative consciousness is today. We're going to talk about consciousness coaching. Marc is live from Apocoronas, Crete, Greece. I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. Two cool places in the world. Eager to get into that one. This pod is brought to you by podfire.com. If you want to start, scale, monetize a pod, you can go to podfire.com. Do that the unconventional way here. Marc, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about creative consciousness.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, giving me a chance to speak about what I am busy with since more than 3.5 decades now. All the way back in 1991, I started Creative Consciousness. And I chose this name very consciously because it was about creativity. I love being creative. I love being a leader and an entrepreneur. And also, I need to be conscious because I was so uninspired by people not being conscious. You know, just the normal parameters of leadership, like performance improvement and scaling and all the rest of it. It's cool, absolutely. I love growth, creativity, but I was lacking a depth, a meaning. I was lacking soul in the business world. And so I created Creative Consciousness to bring back this element, what makes leaders authentic, what creates an environment in a company where people want to be, not because the paycheck is good, not because it's okay to be there, but because it gives them meaning. And today, especially also then escalated by COVID, people are looking for more meaning. Meaning becomes today #1 commodity, if I can use that word, because look, it's not a coincidence that depression, look at the WHO, has been declared the #1 dysfunction or illness when it comes to disability and human suffering. #1, depression. And depression is because there is no meaning, or people are not conscious enough to experience meaning. For this, they would need to go on a journey, because meaning comes only when you are stripping away what is not having meaning. And the roles we learned, the roles we play, the conditioning we carry, how we have been defined by our parents who told us who we are and who we are not, what is good and what is bad. At school, the same thing. As teenagers in our gangs, the same thing. As adults, we watch the movies, they define us. And nobody ever had the chance to really sit down with oneself and ask yourself, okay, if I strip away all those roles, who am I? What's authentic me? And the moment you hit that, what I call essence, meaning is in your life as an experience. You don't need to look for it. It's not something we can find in the Himalayas or we can find any other place in the world. You can't even meditate on that, because what you meditate on is usually your thoughts, and they are a part of your conditioning. So it only comes, and that relates, by the way, to one of the greatest teachers I had the privilege while he was still being alive to be a student of, Jiddu Krishnamurti. His way was like Meister Eckhart's way. Not by addition the soul grows, by subtraction it grows. So we need to become conscious of what is not me, what is not us, what is a role, what is an act, what is a defense mechanism, what is my strategy of secondary protocols, all the untrueness. I call it untrueness, inauthenticity, that we human beings have developed in order to defend ourselves from threats, from other people's agendas, etc. All of that needs to go. And then we feel, okay, a little bit vulnerable, a little bit naked without our familiar identity. On the other hand, we are suddenly experiencing a stillness which allows life to come in, life to come into us. And out of that, I developed then consciousness coaching, which is a trademark. And consciousness coaching is coaching. And we all know, every leader knows, and every company has coaching and mentors embedded nowadays. So that's standard, right? And that's great. However, classical coaching is engaging with, okay, what would you like to create? What would you like to achieve? And then coaching means I'm asking you questions so you can access your inner powers and can be better in creating what you are accomplishing to do. Consciousness coaching goes a step further. It's the next level of coaching, I believe, where we are not only coaching, but also planting seeds of awakening. Now, awakening means you become conscious of something you haven't been conscious of. You know, there's what people are conscious of is what they know. All our knowledge is what we are conscious of. These are our thoughts. That's the voice in the head that is talking all the time. So if you are a little bit on the journey of becoming conscious, then you are becoming conscious of what you know. You also can become conscious, if you want to, with regard to what you don't know. That means I know that I don't know the rate of your heartbeat right now, Charles. I know that I don't know anything about Mandarin. So there's a whole field of what we know, there's a whole field of what we don't know, and then there's what we don't know that we don't know, or what we are not aware of that we are not aware of. This is unthinkable, because everything you can think, what could that possibly be? If there's an answer, it would turn out and go into the field of what you don't know. So we cannot think about what we are not aware of that we are not aware of. But that is 97% of our reality, because our brain filters out of the totality of everything what is 3% according to the values and according to the parameters how we perceive the world. 97% is not conscious, and there lies the magic. The real answers, the aha effects, you know, when you are really pondering a challenge and you use your analytical mind, great, but usually nothing comes out of that except a plan that doesn't work at the end of the day or doesn't fulfill on its promise. But then you take a shower, you do nothing, you take a shower and suddenly it hits you. Wow. You know, that's like Einstein was reported to get relativity. Yes, you need to do the preparation. You need to know what you're doing, you need to prepare, you need to engage in your work. But the magic, the creativity, that comes unexpected when you relax and when you don't think about it. So E equals mc squared, that was received under the shower. And so for everybody who has a problem, a challenge to tackle, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in leadership, whether it is in career choices, doesn't matter which field it is. Probably what you really are looking for is not within the box, not within the field of what you know, and not even in the field of what you don't know. So normal coaching is targeting to make conscious of what you don't know so that you have new perspectives, etc. Consciousness coaching is opening access to what you don't know that you don't know, to what you're not aware of that you're not aware of. I hope it makes sense, but that's actually where all the philosophers and all the brilliant, bright minds today in the self-help industry are pointing to. And that's a super interesting field, because you don't know how to get into what you're not aware of that you're not aware of. In the coaching process, in the consciousness coaching process, the consciousness coach is using tools that have been proven to make that access a high probability. We can't do it without the permission of the client, of course not. But if the client is willing to do the step, then probably it will happen. And then it's just magical. It's beautiful. So our mission statement from Creative Consciousness is awake your essence. That was the first part of my little presentation here, all about becoming authentic by stripping away what is not authentic, and then manifest your greatness. Because I believe every human being has a greatness, a real, powerful, unique light. Not a light in a spiritual sense, and you can also put it into a spiritual context if you like, of course, but a light that means there is something profound, moving and touching in how they are and how they express themselves. And that is usually captivating people's attention. That is usually making other people listen to you. That is usually what impresses in a way that is not coming from an act, but coming from an authentic self-expression. And that's why I am as excited as I was 35 years ago when I engage with my clients, when I coach companies how to embed a coaching academy or a coaching culture into the company. It's super exciting. And today, with all the crisis that is going on in the world and the greater picture of the evolution of consciousness, I think we got a real mission here to contribute to a better future.
Who are your mentors? You mentioned Master Eckhart, great German theologian. There's Eckhart Tolle last time I heard you say. I saw some
Yes.
firewalks. I'm guessing Tony Robbins here. So who are your mentors and what did you learn from them?
Yes, I had the privilege to be really in the presence of many of the grand teachers, grand gurus who are not alive anymore, because back in the 80s they were. That was Osho, that was Chitta Krishnamurti, that was Satya Sai Baba, etc., etc. And I was very drawn towards the Asian philosophy, the Eastern philosophy. And then the greatest impact in my life, and I have been with Werner Erhard, I have been with Tony Robbins, I have been with Avatar, the whole, because it was my industry. It is a duty of any leader in the industry to know what the others are doing. But the impact on me and my work came from Chitta Krishnamurti. He was said to be the guru's guru, because he went beyond the typical teachings that all you can trace back into the philosophy of the Indians 5,000 years ago, the Vedas and so on and so forth. But Chitta Krishnamurti was absolutely unique. And he taught me that by subtraction, I remember I was sitting in a discourse when he gave it in Sarnen up in the Engadin in Switzerland. Beautiful, beautiful place. A tent in the mountains, 2,000 people. And I went in and I made sure I was right in front, sitting, to be so close to the energy as possible. And then he only spoke for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And I went out of the tent and I was like, what's going on? Because the sky was more blue than blue, and the trees were more green than green, and the birds were so beautiful singing. And I was in a different state. I didn't take mushrooms or something. And I was like, wow. And when I listened to other teachers, they fill you with great knowledge, and it can be very, very inspiring. But honest to God, didn't work for me, because when you put more in here, it doesn't alter my experience. But if you take away what is in there, then my experience is altered. And that is my method, and that's consciousness coaching.
Right. Then you spoke about some problems in this world right now. Israel,
Yeah.
Hamas, for example, Ukraine, Russia. What's the source of these problems and what could be spiritual or consciousness solutions to these?
No, that's a wonderful question. I believe that when we see the escalation on the scale of wars between nations or cultures, I believe that it is the same principle that starts in the human mind as a conflict, as two conflicting perspectives. One sees the world or the situation or the environment or the circumstances in this way, and the others sees it in that way. And then one is afraid that one's position is compromised, and therefore one goes into defense. Or by the old paradigm, attack is the best defense, and then it escalates. And when diplomacy is stopping, when they don't talk anymore, they start fighting. Then it becomes a material conflict. But it all starts in the mind. So the human being incapable, except they become conscious, of resolving the inner conflict in oneself and in a position of leadership is a very dangerous human being, because they will express that conflict that is within on the outside, and by their decision making in power, it will then be a mirror of who they are inside. And you put two of them nearby, and here we go. The conflict escalates. So I believe that's a solution for a world peace or a world with a better future without conflict on that scale or without conflict at all. I think it is possible, but it all starts with the individual needing to end the conflict within, the contradiction within. And as I said, my way is not to tell you, okay, let's do conflict coaching or something like that. Let's find a compromise. No. My way is to say, okay, which of the perspectives are true and which of the perspectives are inherited, adopted, and what is the picture that is ahead, not the past that I try to maintain, but what is it I want to create? You know, if I take the leaders of Israel and Hamas, if I take them on a table and said, okay, guys, what do you want to create? Not coming from the past, but from the future. I'm sure that within a very short amount of time, there would be a vision that is greater than the concerns and the needs and the wants of each of the single parties. And when we can reduce the ego's need for approval and assurance, in other words, when we can surrender to serve a higher vision that is beyond the personal ego, beyond the ego of a nation, I think everything is possible.
Love that. And your clients nowadays, you offer multiple products to them, multiple experiments or tactics to potentially open their minds up. What are these products, and how do different brains and hearts and beings operate? Some of them will change on very easily, you know, what one online call. Some of them will need to be reunited to see others change and to have a group to propel them forward. Others will need to walk on fire to have the change happen in them. So what are your different products and modality to create that consciousness shift in them?
We have a product line that is consisting of trainings. These are 4-day experiences in a classroom, online nowadays mostly, but also in person, where you undergo a particular process designed for human transformation, meaning that you're not the same person after the 4 days as you were when you came in. And it's not an indoctrination of a model how we see the world and we're going to manipulate to see it the same way. Not at all. As I said, we are helping you to identify what has been indoctrinated into you that you don't feel that is authentic. So all the inauthenticity needs to become conscious and put away. So that is called conscious living. Conscious living 1, 2, and 3. We have conscious money, conscious success, conscious sales. Everything is based on the same principle. And then we have a product line with retreats. A retreat is a very different animal. A retreat is a 7-8 day process. We're in beautiful venues in South Africa, here on Crete. We go to Sochi, we go to Bali, etc. And in a retreat, we tackle the subjects of the shadow. Carl Gustav Jung, everybody carries a shadow. So that is an enormous journey into the underworld. Like Heracles or Odysseus are going into the underworld in the Greek mythologies. It's a super important journey, the soul, the heart, and rebirth, to really take a deep dive into the values of your life, celebrate a ceremony of ritualized dying, get reborn, and with fresh eyes, take a look at the rest of your life and ask yourself, okay, now how do I create the rest of my life, not any longer being depending on the past? And coaching. We have a coaching academy, which I'm very proud of. It's ICF certified on all the levels you can think of. And we develop a coaching culture. We have more than 800 diploma coaches developed over the last 12 years. 2,000 people have undergone the coach training program itself. And it's a community. It's powerful. We have great Facebook groups, and people are making a difference out there. And for me, it matters the most that after 10, 12 years, I may meet somebody on the street who have done the training, and they say, Marc, I'm still living in the principles. You changed my life. That doesn't go credit to my ego. It goes credit to my heart, because I know that what we are doing, the way we are doing it, is making a lasting difference. And that is what I want other people to be able to do. And that's a consciousness coach. So when I train people, my aim is that they make a difference with other people in their lives, personal and professional, that is lasting. Nothing is more frustrating as you got a motivational push. You feel like the hero on top of the world for a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months. You're rocking and rolling, moving and shaking, and then it withers away, and you need to get the next fix. Because you can't have a positive motivation on an unresolved inner mud. It's not possible. The muddy pond inside needs to be clarified. And that's why I'm not offering motivation per se. I think it's great entertainment. It can be inspiring, can help people making some decisions that are good for them. But to resolve the inner darkness, you need to go there and to work with that. And to pull that into a corporate culture is something, Google is on the way doing that, and others as well. They have rooms, sanctuaries, where you are allowed, without somebody looking at the watch, you're allowed to take your breaks, you're allowed to have audio meditations, guided meditations, etc., as a corporate culture. And this is a step in the right direction. So we need to combine corporate culture with personal growth so that people stay with the company because they feel I'm growing there as a human being, as a person. It spills over into the quality of my relationship at home. If I go to a company and I have stuff going on there that helps me to have better relationships, that helps me to become more passionate, that helps me to become more honest and authentic in life, I love that company. There's loyalty. I work extra hours. I take responsibility. All the complaints the leaders come to me that their people don't have. I say, yeah, we're not going to just motivate them. We're going to build a culture where they experience personal value that is not related to their work, but to their personal life. And they will do anything for you without you needing to ask, because they see how much value it brings to be in your company for their lives. And that's the next level of corporate culture.
And how do you mix spirituality with wealth? A bunch of spiritual people are sort of against wealth for whatever reason. So how do you break these limitations?
Can you phrase the question again?
Yeah, the premise is that spiritual folks usually are opposed against wealth, or it's sort of taboo to become rich, What's your take on that? And how do you have people break these limits?
Yeah. Okay. If somebody comes into my line of work and into my programs or so, who has an attitude, that money is bad, money is the root of all evil, etc., etc., I'm going to say to them, listen, every teacher out there that we do know of, the Eckhart Tolles, the Tony Robbins, and all the gurus from the past and the present, they are all having a lot of wealth around them. They claim they are independent, don't need that. I don't know. I don't know the inside. But abundance means inner and outer wealth. I wrote a book, The Inner Million, and that is the wealth and the worth, the self-worth of a human being inside. And I'm not saying that the purpose of life is to make money. I'm saying you need to have an openness for wealth to come to you. How much wealth comes to you and in what form, leave it to life, leave it to the universe if you want to. And if you go for it and making it, also nothing is wrong. But you will see that you only become fully filled, when you do it consciously, when you bring consciousness, meaning, and value to the people you work with, to your customers. So that combination. And if they don't listen, then I say, okay, go back to where you came from. You're in the wrong place, right? Because I don't buy your attitude that poverty leads to spiritual growth. That's a concept that is not something I see proven concept of. No, it doesn't.
There you go. Thank you for that, Marc. Where can people find out more about you?
Go to creativeconsciousness.com, creativeconsciousness.com. We got free consciousness tests, free masterclasses, etc., etc. So if you like anything of what I said, there you find much more for free for you to check out and have fun and get some value of it. Or also right there is a WhatsApp button on the website where you can chat to me. So I'm available as I am, and I'm happy to get in touch with you.